We're actually very close to having a working quiz application. We just need now to implement the functionality to see if the user chose the correct answer. So we need to go to our main storyboard. We're going to need the assistant editor right now. We're going to go to our game view controller and make sure that that's shown. We need a method that's going to check the answer. So I'm going to click on our first button. I'm going to control drag, and I'm going to create an action. I'm going to call it answer tapped, and it's going to be of type UI button, and I'll do a connect. And the thing is, I want all these buttons to use the same action, the same method. The way I can tell the difference between them is that tag that we set earlier on. This says tag of 0, tag of 1, and so on. What we'll do is we're going to check to see if the tag matches the correct answer index, and if they do, we know we tapped the correct answer. So I'm going to control drag to the same method, which means that this button is going to use the same method. This button will use the same method. And this button will use the same method. Well, now I have to implement that method. So let's do let the button index equal the sender dot tag. So when I click on this, the button gets passed as a parameter. And so I'm saying what's the tag of the button that was clicked, and let that equal the button index. I'll say let correct answer index equal questions 0, then that is the first question, dot correct answer index. And since I've already tapped on the button, I don't need my timer anymore. I'll invalidate it. So every time I click on a button, the button index will be the tag of the button. The correct answer index will be the answer I pull back from BaasBox. So now I just need to check if they're the same. So if button index is the same as the correct answer index, for right now I'll just print something to the console. Answer is correct. I'll increase the score. I will set the score label text to equal score colon string score. So I'm just updating the label. So if they're the same, the answer is right, increase the score, update the score label. Actually, well, let me move that in a second. Else print answer is wrong. I actually think this should be updated regardless of whether I get it right or wrong. So I'm going to move it out here. And then I'm going to remove the questions, remove at index. Okay. So I've checked to see if the answer is right or wrong. I'm going to remove it, and then I'm going to go to the next question if there is one. So I'm going to choose play again. And that finally should be it. So now we cross our fingers. Let's try to run this. Hope this works. So there's our app. We've got the play button. I'm going to tap play. Boy, that did not look so good. Forgot to do one thing. Let's go back to BaasBox. Because I logged in as administrator and did these questions, the user I'm logged in as, let's go to users. The default user, notice that it's a registered user. It doesn't have access to anything done by the administrator. So there are ways around this, but the easiest one for right now is just to make our default user an administrator. I think that's probably not accepted practice, but since this is just our own server, we're going to do it for right now. Now let's try to run it one more time. There's our app. We hit play. So it says I have a fatal error, and that's because when I'm looking for an answer key. When I go to my documents and I select my quiz, the key is actually answers. So I spelled this wrong here. Let me stop my app from running. Let me make that answers. Now let's run it. Maybe this time. All right. So we've got to play. And now I can actually see the question. However, it looks a little bit unformatted, but I'll tap on book more. I got my answers correct. School was founded in 1961. Answer is correct. I've gone through both questions. I'm back to my home view controller. So it looks like everything's working. Just to make sure, I'll hit play. Let's type a wrong answer. Answer's wrong. Answer's wrong. It still takes me back. So everything's working. We now have the ability to retrieve questions from a server. The last thing we want to be able to do is add our own questions, and we'll fix that in the next couple of lessons.